Hi, guys. I know some of you are probably going to see this and you're sick of me going live, and I get that. I go live a lot in my work. It's weird for me to go live this frequently on my Facebook page, my personal one, but this has been a really weird, we're on day 18. It is a weird place to be. Very strange. So what I wanted to do, I've got about 5 minutes before I have to go do the live that I usually do every week on my fitness protection program Facebook page, Ask Away with Coach MK, where people actually want to hear me speak. If you are running into this, you're probably here for the same reason people answer the phone when I call. There's no telling what I could say, and they're just interested to see what might come out of my mouth this time. I promise I don't always know what's about to come out of my mouth either, but I do know that I have been doing a little bit of work lately that is hard to articulate and hard to describe. I don't really discuss this work often, and it's been really hard showing it and talking about it, because if you're not there and you don't see the problem, then it's impossible to talk about my work in a way that makes sense, because then I have to fall into that, the cultural stereotypes that in which I've lived my whole life, where I have to now prove to you that I'm not a drama queen exaggerating the seriousness of a given situation. I assure you, I don't put on bulletproof vest or riot gear for funsies or because I'm bored. Anyway, there is a thing going on now. When I say that this series of protests is different, that this movement is different, there is a feel here in America that I've not felt before, and it gives me a whole lot of hope. Not just because that bill passed that I wanted to have passed. SB 217 is going in front of the Governor Polis this week to be signed, and that will be historic. Let's see what happens then. But it's a good step forward if we can get cops to adhere to it, as opposed to that restraining order they continue violating here in Denver proper. But what I wanted to take a minute to do, because the things that I'm doing are drastic. They're extreme, even on the level of personhood. But I see a need. Can I feel it? Yes, I do. And I have the backing and the privilege to be able to do the things that I do. I do not invite people to join me in this work for a multitude of reasons. Number one, it's dangerous. Number two, it's thankless. I grew up in a family. My dad's been practicing police brutality law, suing cops since 1973. You don't make friends. We have never been a family that could call the police if we were in danger, because they wouldn't come. We've sued all of them. My father has sued all of them. And I get that. So it's a very different perspective that I come from, only to then actually be assaulted and see firsthand exactly how much the system was going to fail me, and how much it continues to fail people now 20 years later who are in the same situation. So to be here has been a lifetime in the making, and to be in this particular situation, had I not got maced on a run 2 Thursdays ago, I don't know that I would be doing this work here now. It's not like I jumped, there was a job opportunity and I signed up for it. It's not like there was a Facebook event and I was like, oh, gee, I'm going, boom. It just sort of happened. So one thing I can tell you has that having been doing this work for a long time, other than it's thankless, and you've got to do it because you believe in it, and because every fiber in your being tells you that this is the right thing to do. If you are not where I am yet, that's okay. My being MK is not a destination. I don't recommend that for anyone either. But I do see a lot of people saying things that are well-meaning and are trying to start doing work that they are not familiar with, and fumbling and aren't aware of it, because it is really, really hard to go at someone and say, I just want you to know you're getting it wrong and I would like to correct you. That is really hard to do. It's called white fragility. The way a white person reacts when you insinuate that they have done something wrong or racist, or that they're getting it wrong, and without taking a good 5 minutes to applaud their intent before correcting them, that's white fragility. I know I almost never reach out to people to say, hey, that was awful, if I know that they mean well, because it's not going to get me anywhere. They're going to miss the message, and then they're going to call 5 other people. Did you see? Let me tell you what MK said to me. Can you believe she is so awful? And it sort of reinforces. They don't see the irony that what they're doing is living white fragility. And this is why maybe your Black friends haven't told you that there's something wrong with your Facebook post, because they just don't have the bandwidth to get beat up again by you. So I tell you all that to say, before I go live in the place where I'm paid to be, I thought I would do a little public service announcement, because the thing that is so dangerous about calling somebody or something racist from one white person to another, Black people, I'm not talking to you, obviously, call us all racist and walk away. Like, that is emotional labor. If you don't have the bandwidth, cool. I'm trying to do that emotional labor. I'm trying to save you some emotional labor right now. You can just give people this video if you want. So I want to give you an idea of what sort of things not to say, or that if you find yourself saying them, it is proof positive that maybe, just maybe, your intent, though it's okay, is not going to lead where you want to go. Okay, so deep breath. Here is the first one. So woke, one of the reasons we can't say it, it's not our word. That word was not meant for us. When the whole concept of hashtag stay woke came around, that was more of a warning from Black people to other people of color, to, as a heads up for, be vigilant, stay vigilant. We literally cannot afford to be complacent now or ever. And that's where the concept of woke, in seeing the danger around you, came from. Because frankly, anyone could be about 3 paychecks away from being Candace Owens. I mean, and that you want to get her. Don't, by the way, I don't care how much you like that video. If you are white, do not, under any circumstances, send the link to anything Candace Owens has ever said to a Black person you know, especially to ask them to deconstruct it or critique it. It's just hurtful that they have to tell you what's wrong with some of the things that she says. And I'm telling you this gently. Better to hear it from me than from the one Black friend that you can take these things to. Okay. So the whole idea of woke, number one, it's not our word. And number two, it's not a destination. It's not when white people use it, we tend to think of, oh, I'm trying to get to the woke place. I'm trying to get as though it's like, I'm going to climb Mount Wokeness by taking this course and reading these books and achieve this stamp and certification. And that's really the wrong way. Everything about that's incorrect. So I beg you, for all things good and holy, any sentence that you feel the need to include this word is a sentence a white person does not need to be saying. My final note on that is that this word kind of entered the public canon around 2015. So by using it now, 3 dead Black humans at the hands of police that inspired national protests later, what you are effectively saying is, I missed the first 2. I'm finally catching up to 2015. Nothing about that makes you sound good, much less woke. It's like, damn, it took a lot to wake your ass up, huh? So you're not going to do yourself any favors. Just avoid this word. Okay. Especially if you're thinking of it, I'm trying to achieve wokeness. Any derivation of that word reinforces the fact, your white privilege, that you've been able to ignore what's been going on for so long. And only just now you are doing the work to become woke. Okay. So, and it's going to, and if you are doing really hard, painful work right now, I want to give you credit for that. That's a lot and it's hard to do. But it's important to understand that when you say a word like this, what you're doing is performative, and it undermines the real work that you may be doing on your own. So think twice before saying it. Okay. So if you're still with me, haven't lost too many viewers yet. Here's the second one, ally. This is another word we have got to stop saying, you guys. Ally is a word that came into the public canon and lexicon circa 2008, when the LGBTQ community said, hey, we need allies in this fight. And people were on board to say, hey, I am here. That was a very long time ago. And to be really clear, every major social movement that has benefited all of us in ways large and small have been launched by marginalized communities, community organizers, people of color, indigenous folks, and people in the LGBTQ plus community. So I tell you that to tell you this. We are past the point. This movement is far past the point of needing allies. It is happening. If you indicate that you're trying to be an ally now, what you're saying is, I'm trying to catch up to 2015. I'm really behind. It underscores the work that you're doing and where it is you're trying to go. Final note on being an ally. No one is going to give you a gold star for this. If you are woke aware, meaning aware of the problem, and you're down with the cause to the point that you want to help it and help the people who are in it in this continued fight to be treated equally like human beings and not have to worry about dying at the hands of police. It, again, sounds dramatic, but it's true. Then they're going to need more than allies. They need co-conspirators and they need accomplices. And introducing yourself as, hi, I'm a co-conspirator, it's not great. It's kind of like going into a room and you bring a friend along with you and you're like, this is my Black friend. This is my Indigenous friend. Oh, this is MK. Her son has autism. Like, that is not going to win you favors with me or anybody else. I'm going to be really upset to have been categorized like that. And I understand that you want to be classified as one of the good ones. You don't just want to be an ally. You want to be known as an ally. Because by achieving that and wearing that and projecting it somehow, as though that in and of itself is going to fight racism, and it really doesn't. It doesn't do anything. It's called virtue signaling, because what you're doing is you're centering the story around you, not around the fight or about the work. If we're going to talk about anything having to do with allyship, if we could rewrite that sentence in some way so that instead of saying, I am an ally, talk about the work that you're doing, which leads me to the third thing we got to stop saying at all costs. My Black friends, they are not here to validate your work. They are not here to be proof of anything. Back to the previous example, because this is I watched this interaction happen a couple nights ago, and it was really kind of breathtakingly amazing. A white dude with a camera was filming during a moment of silence. A Black woman goes over and says, could you please keep your voice down? This is a TV reporter. And he turns around to her and is like, I am an ally. How dare you? I am on your side. How dare you not appreciate the work that I'm doing to bring a light to this cause? Don't you know who I am? Effectively. So there was a lot going on there because it's a white dude and a Black woman and. So rather than unpack all of that, everything that he said could be boiled down to my Black friends. I'm woke. I'm an ally. I'm here for the cause. I have Black friends. I have the right to do this disrespectful thing. No, you don't. When a person of color says, hey, stop that, just stop doing it. If you feel yourself defending yourself in a way that would invoke the phrase, my Black friends, whatever it is you're about to say don't need to be said. It just doesn't. And final note on this is another conversation that I got to witness with someone correcting another person. A person of color was correcting a white person on a Facebook post that they had just put up while we're there at the protest. They're like, you might want to change the wording of that. And then, this white person turns to the person of color and says, hey, you know what? My Black friends support me. That not a single one, I've got a lot of Black friends and none of them have told me that any of my posts are problematic. And as a matter of fact, I think they've all liked them. Not okay. Not okay. A person of color just tried to have a conversation with you in a very safe way, saying, hey, maybe what you're doing isn't what you think. That word does not mean what you think it means. Let's try something else. To snap at them is white fragility, like at its best. So if you are really, the work that you need to be doing, that we all need to be doing right now, is addressing our own, and I still have some too. Y'all, I make mistakes all the time. I ask questions that are stupid, and I feel the need to inject myself in places where I'm not necessarily wanted or needed. So I'm not coming to you saying like, I've done all the work, I know all the things, and I'm here to help you. But rather, if there is a curve, I'm a little bit ahead of someone who has trying to achieve wokeness and allyship in 2020. So trust me when I tell you that your Black friends, what they have or have not done on your Facebook page, what they have and have not said to you, has no value and no basis in any other conversation, especially one that has invoked that defensiveness, that anger, that sense of white fragility, where you try to insist that you're doing the right thing and that you mean well, and why won't you give me credit for that when someone is telling you, hey, you're doing the wrong thing. So that is it. That's all I had to say. We did a podcast today that with some of our employees of color at the Fitness Protection Program. And to answer this question, what do I do now? Originally, we had intended that podcast to be a follow-up to the Running While Black podcast that we released 2 days before Ahmaud Arbery became a household name in America. And we're still all reeling from the timing of that a little bit here. And originally we had scheduled this podcast to address and to come back and sort of like, okay, you ran for Ahmaud. What have you done since? And have a real conversation about the work that needs to be done to make the streets safer for Black people everywhere. It did not end with this man, his life, and his murderers being tried. I mean, that trial has not even started yet, you guys. We got such a long way to go on all of this, and it'll never be over. So originally we had wanted to revisit what are you doing now and give people some options. But that the world has changed a lot in 4 or 6 weeks. And we thought it would be more appropriate to talk about kind of where we are now and give white people sort of a blueprint of this is where we are, this is where we need to go. Here are your best next steps in that patented Coach MK fitness protection way and style. Say, this is where do you want to go? Here's the target. We're going to line up targets on the way to our big old secret goal. And we attempted to do that in the podcast now. The final thing before I shut this over, because I'm 10 minutes late to my next broadcast, the final thing I would beg you with, your book club is great, but no one cares about your book club right now. People are dying. People are literally dying. The book club is fantastic, especially if you've joined the book club that was started by my friend Sarah Blanchard and me, Sasha, of the Dear White Women podcast. They are there and ready and willing to do that emotional labor with you slowly over a long period of time, absorbing high level white fragility, wokeness, and where this fight stands in America. These are women of color. They're married to men of color and have biracial children. They are deeply invested in this. There are all kinds of people right now that are offering courses, that are offering classes, that are giving you opportunities to give them money, and they will share their knowledge with you for a brief snippet of emotional labor. Do all of those things, but that's for you. We also need you to do things that benefit the fight, that are going to make things safer over time. A great place to start, as I've said before, is donating to a freedom fund, a bail fund, nationalbailout.org. Juneteenth is coming, and we've almost got enough money to free pay ransoms on every single individual in the Denver cage. We're going to free a whole dang cage, you guys. That's amazing. And by cage, I mean prison, and by ransom, I mean bail, cash bail. It is a system that I am passionately wanting to see end in my lifetime, and that I do think is achievable. Racism is huge in undoing the system. It's going to overwhelm you, which is why you have to put your head down, find the one thing that is tangible that you can continue to make yours and work on. And it doesn't have to be cash bail. That's mine. Find yours, but go look for it and have that in your head while you learn about how big and how deeply embedded these issues are in your book club. Your Black friends, not to speak for all your Black friends, and by the way, Black people are not a monolith. It's almost like a diaspora. So people think your book club is really nice, but if you want to get like, oh, cool, thank you, from someone, if that really, really matters to you, first of all, you need to check why, but you're much more likely to get it if you're not using words like 2015 words like woke and ally, or specifically trying to show your Black friends what you're doing, but just talk about the other work that you are doing and inviting people to join you, whether you are working with a local community center, you have discovered the work of a local community organizer, and you are all about that bandwagon and you want to share in case any of your friends might be interested too and they didn't know before. That is a much better way to go than anything else you could possibly do, because the book club is for you. The work that you need to be talking about openly and inviting people to join you in is the work that benefits the movement and does not necessarily benefit you. Final note, the stuff I'm doing at night is stupid and dangerous. Don't join me in that. We just need supplies. We know we're not doing any more street medic trainings at the moment. We don't need any more people out there helping us or acting as bodyguards or marshals or escorts. What we do need is people caring about the fact that I have to do this, that this is work that still needs to be done in 2020. Focus on that. Stop looking for the sexy stuff. The stuff is not sexy. And the reason I do it is because I like to think of myself as a decent human being. It's something that needs to be done. I have the bandwidth and capacity. I'm not making friends doing it. I'm losing a lot of business hours. I'm losing sleep. I've got a big shout out to my husband who makes all this possible, but I am gaining absolutely nothing on a personal level from this. If anything, I'm losing a lot, and I'm putting my family at risk too. So I tell you that This is not a battle that is going to end in my lifetime. So be really certain about what you need to get out of it when you get started. And with that in mind, the thing that you're doing, if it doesn't benefit you directly or specifically, if it does not enhance your resume, then it's probably the right thing to do. I'm going to stop there. We're at the Dear White Women thing. Yeah, Dear White Women podcast. It's if you just go and look at, I'll put I'm so late to my other thing. I'll go ahead and put a link. I'll circle back and put a link in here later. The Dear White Women podcast is run by a dear friend of mine that I've known for 20 years. We knew each other in Tokyo. And they just started a book club. It's $10 a month and it is wonderful. Highly recommend it. These women went to Harvard. If you can forgive them for that, they are still worth talking to and listening to and interacting with. And they are also much more gentle. It's shocking when you meet them. When you're used to the MK experience, it's almost hard to believe that I'm friends with these women because they are so the opposite of me. They are so much more nurturing and so much more gentle and so much less direct. They're exactly who you want to be having these difficult conversations with. I'm the person people want to listen to or kind of watch. Interacting with me on a dangerous topic, though, is going to poke your white fragility in a lot of different places. And that is a lot less likely to happen with these two ladies, Sarah and Misasha of the Dear White Women podcast. I can't think of two better women to go be learning from. Yep, there it is. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, that's it. All right, with that, I got to go. You are coached. You are loved. Don't use those words. And you are and will be forever winning at life.